cross. It's up for grabs now.
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira.
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it. Well,
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
champions.
Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of the Arsenal Lounge. We've got some great guests on today, a couple that haven't been on for a little while. So we thought we'd get them on and find out what they've been thinking with the recent events with the transfer window and what we're going to be doing moving forward and all that sort of thing. So without any further ado, we'll move on with it. We've got Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV. I'm sure you all know him. How you doing, Curtis? Welcome back to the channel, man.
No, pleasure to be here, man. It's been a while and good to see you all, man. Looking forward to the show.
Yeah, well, I hope you say that at the end. And Lee, the man who's got the same hairstyle as me. I love him to bits. Lee Judges, how you doing?
I love you too, man. I don't know about the other one with the old grease back here, but like, I love you, man. Like, you know, so there you go. Like, yeah. I'm all good. Thank you very much. All good.
Thank you, bro. And you look nice and warm there, nice and warm. And Danny Zuko from Greece is also joining us on the left top hand corner there. Otherwise known as Shaheen. How you doing, bro? Looking greasy as usual. Nice it.
You guys are ganging up on me, man. What is this? Just because I've got hair and you two don't?
Curtis has got hair. He's just got it styled and looking nice and neat. You on the other end, you're just going for that.
This is the hair side and that's the bold side over there.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That's the before and after, isn't it? Before and after. That's it.
I'm worried then.
You could. By the end of the show, you could end up looking like either of us, Curtis.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. But look, guys, as you know, transfer window's just finished. We were all excited. It all started with a flurry of activity and rumours in regards to Vlahovic, and we all started really, really positive. Don't know about you guys, but going for that level of player, we haven't been linked with that level of player for a while. I was excited. I thought we were serious. I thought whatever happened, outgoings, we're going to strengthen. We knew what was going on with you, but the Aubameyang situation. Fast forward, it was like a damp squid. It was really, really just underwhelming. I just wanted to hear your thoughts, starting with you, Curtis, because I've been watching one or two of your shows recently. I know you called him Mikel Dictator, rightfully so in some aspects. But mate, I mean, firstly, starting with you, does it make any sense what we've done, Curtis?
I think just to look at it from Arsenal's point of view before I put my own spin on it, I think when you look back at a lot of previous January transfer windows, I think we forced signings that weren't really necessary, like Dennis Suarez, Kim Kallstrom. We've signed a lot of rubbish in January that we've regretted. So from the club's point of view, I think they're looking at it like, if we can't get the target we want, we're not going to sign somebody. But from my point of view, and I'm sure all of your point of view, for me, we're in a position that I didn't expect us to be in. I didn't even think we'd be in a top 4 race. I thought we would be top 6, top 8. So when you get to January and you've got that opportunity to push the club forward and maybe speed up the process by a year or two by getting Champions League, you've got to have a plan B, a plan C. You've got to get somebody in. I was saying earlier today, letting Aubameyang go, I mean, fair enough. Clearly, there's been a fallout. You let him go, but you have to replace him because the two guys you're relying on, Lacazette and Nketiah, have got 3 league goals this season, and we're in February. So how do you expect those two to get as a top 4 place when they've got 3 goals in over half a season? They're clearly not the answer. And Arteta said in his press conferences that we had money to spend. He said we could sign players if they were the right players. So you spend the whole month chasing Vlahovic, who, I don't know about you, I never felt like we were signing him. His agent, him, they never said anything that was positive about Arsenal. And then you don't pull out a plan B. You've also sold 6 players. I mean, a lot of that deadwood needed to be shipped out. But you can't leave yourself short. We had a game called off a few weeks ago because we didn't even have enough players. So you've let 6 players go. You signed 2 lads from the MLS that don't join us for 6 months. One of them plays for Stan Kroenke's club. So that's probably an inside job already. And then you sign no one. And to me, it just screams out a lack of ambition. It tells me that the club are not desperate to get in the Champions League. That's why they're offering him a contract. There's no targets, Edu said. And I just think everything's too comfortable at the football club. And I think that's why we are where we are, because there's an acceptance that we'll just take whatever they give us. And I think even the fan base is partly responsible, because I think if this was happening at Liverpool or certain other clubs, their fans would be in uproar. We kind of just take it, you know, and I think we've been let down by the club. I really do. I think they've let us down. I think they treat us like customers rather than supporters. And if they don't get top 4 this season, I think they got to look at themselves and blame themselves, really.
Interesting thoughts, man. I'll have to say I agree with quite most of them, really, to be honest with you. I mean, Lee, you've heard what Curtis has to say. I kind of agree in the sense of we're being treated like customers at the moment. It's more about, you know, the tourism and this and that, rather than getting results and maintaining a legacy that we've built up over time, which is part of the reason players have wanted to come to us and part of the reason there is a big fan base globally. So do you agree what Curtis is saying? And what was your take on this transfer window?
Yeah. Listen, I agree with what Turkish says, you know what I mean? And I can see both sides of it all, if I'll be honest. I do get what, for me, it's a disappointment. I'm going to say that. Like, you know, I think we went all out for Vlahovic. Didn't get him, you know what I mean? I think if Juventus didn't come in for him and stomp up the money, he might well have come to Arsenal. But ultimately, he wanted to go to Juventus. And so from that point, you have to accept that, you know. We was in for him, but he chose to go to Juventus.
We knew that was possible, though, Lee, didn't we?
Yeah,
I mean, surely we should have been juggling 2 or 3 other strikers in case.
Well, yeah. But then you know, if you're going all out for one, you know, I like that attitude of, like, you know, we sort of thought that was a sort of DNA sort of striker that we wanted. The other strikers that were available, didn't really fit the system. It's like Aubameyang's a good goal scorer, but he didn't fit the system that Arteta wants. We need that player that's going to be able to hold up play, bring in other players, and then get in the box and score goals. That isn't an Aubameyang. I don't know if it is the other strikers we was linked with. It didn't seem to go that way as well. Like the one thing that I will say, and it gets me a little bit of a go. We've got 17 games, so we've not got a lot of games. And we've not got, so having a big squad of players, what does that bring if you ain't got a lot of games? It can bring you a little bit of unhappiness. So I think that they've looked at it from that point of view and thought, do you know what? We can, like, get rid of the squad a little bit, thin it down a little bit, and with 17 games, that may be okay. Now, when I look at that and I think, well, you know, this is for 17 games, it's like, oh, that's great, we've got 17 games. It isn't, you know what I mean? That means we've been knocked out of both cup competitions. We ain't got no chance of Europe because we've not been in Europe. It's a disappointment from that point of view. You know, a club like Arsenal shouldn't be going into the 1st of February with only 17 games, 1 game a week virtually to the end of the season. Like, you know, a couple of midweek games in there. It's wrong. But I think what they've done is they've looked at that and thought, right, well, okay, we can get away with a central defensive situation. This is how I think they're looking at it. Whether I think right or wrong, I don't know. But if anything happens to Gabriel, Tierney can drop in there. Like, you know, in the midfield, they've got the 2 main players that they believe is going to be in Xhaka and of course Partey. Now, at the end of it, if they all stay fit, all that team, they've got a good chance of getting top 4. And if they don't, I think it's on Arteta, really. I do, and I do, because they're the ones that have put themselves in. I think they could have actually gone and looked to improve the team, not necessarily the squad. Now, all the players they've shipped out, the one that's had the most appearances was Maitland-Niles was the one with 8 appearances, 2 starts. You know what I mean? Like, all of the players that have gone, Chambers 2 starts, Kolasinac 2 games, I think, not starts, games. So none of them have been really contributing in that first half of the season. So that's why I think that it looks like that. The thing with Aubameyang, this is where I totally agree, because you've fallen out with someone and you've not replaced him. Now, again, we've only got 2 players. I don't think it's so much the depth of the 2 players. I think that's all you need is two strikers. It's the quality of the strikers up top. And you know, as Curtis alluded to there, 3 goals. from the pair of them. Like, you know what I mean? If you're going to be winning leagues and challenging for top 4, you've got to have someone in that team that's going to get near 20 goals. They ain't got 20 goals. They ain't
Don't
going
have
to get
anywhere near that, Lee.
They ain't going to get nowhere near it. No. So you're going to have to rely on other areas. Now, our top goal scorer at this club at the moment is Smith Rowe. Now, he ain't even in the team. So, you know, like, so you've got to have to get goals. So they're going to have to find a way of getting him in the team. Now, I think the way you get him in the team is that you play him out wide left and you put Martinelli down the middle. And that's what I think that they may have to go, trying to get goals from all 3 areas of the pitch with Saka on the other side. I'm going to put a player now that I think now has got to step up to the plate, and that is Pepe. Pepe is going to have to come in. He may have to play a couple of different roles. But for me, that's up now, you know, for Arteta now, who said, no, I don't, for whatever reason, we haven't got Vlahovic, we're not going out for someone else. He's got to make what he's better use of the players that he's got. And that means those players there. So for me, I don't think it's all doom and gloom at this moment in time, because I think that we've got 17 games. But I'll tell you what they've done, and I don't know if you agree with me, they've put unbelievable, massive pressure on themselves here. Because from my point of view, I'm going, right, okay, you've not got anybody in the transfer window, right? I'm not going to lose it at this moment in time, because, you know, it could be a mug and, like, you know, end up playing as well as what they did against Man City week in, week out, and doing well. But my God, if they don't do that, they're under the pump, and rightly so. And you know, what I don't want to see, and I don't know how everybody feels about this, is that we lose to Nottingham Forest, who are a league below us, and by the way, are going well. And I'm not in no way having a go at Nottingham Forest here in any shape or form, but they're in a league below. We lost that game, and that's all right. It ain't the end of the world. Top 4 is the important goal this season. Everybody that was on the process bandwagon, top 4 is our goal. Transfer window comes, don't worry about it. We're clearing the decks. We're clearing the decks for the big guns to come at the end of the season. It doesn't happen. Then them same people that are turning around and saying, doesn't matter that we lost to Nottingham Forest because it's top 4, are now saying, well, we're not going to get top 4 now. It was never in the process. You know what I mean? It's like 6 is progress.
Lee, wait.
No, it's not.
You mentioned very quickly. Sorry to interrupt, though. You mentioned very quickly as well. We've got to make the most of the players we got, right? And you also mentioned the Forest game. Well, surely Maitland-Niles going out when he didn't make sense, because it left us short anyway. And also making the most of what you got. In my opinion, we weren't making the most of Aubameyang because we were trying to use him in a way that didn't suit the way Arteta wanted to play. So then surely you should be saying, right, this is who I have at the moment. Get the best out of what I've got until I can find better. We're not going to, in my opinion, and I'll throw this out to you guys as well, in my opinion, we went for Vlahovic. Let's just say we went for him. Some people saying, oh, but he doesn't want to replace, you know, with worse. He wants to get better in. I get that. But at the same time, we need to be realistic where we are as a club. Are we going to get much better than a Vlahovic? No, we're not. If we're not, Vlahovic isn't coming to us, then we've got to look at the next levels down. Are they going to be better than what we had? Or do you have to just, like Isak, for example, or someone like that? Should we not, if we're not replacing, should we not have looked at someone like Aubameyang and said, well, you know what? Let's not sort of cut our nose off, spite our own faces, work with what we got until we can find better.
Well, that's down to the manager. Listen, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but there's more to this than meets the eye than just turning up late. I don't care what anybody says. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. And as a fan, I feel I deserve to know. You know what I mean? I put me mate, like, not only do I feel that I deserve to know, I've been told over the years, put my money in and things will get better. And then you're letting someone like your top goal scorer go for nothing. Then I hear the next day, oh no, we're paying him $7 million to leave. So I do feel we're in a right to know why you keep losing money left, right, and centre. Like, you know what I mean? We keep hemorrhaging money left, right, and centre in this football club. Like, you know, for instance, we go into next season with a process, and everybody says about this process, and this is where I think that it's where it falls short, is that the last game of the season, we have one striker on our books, and that is Balogun, who's actually on loan at Middlesbrough at the moment, because Eddie will be gone and Lacazette will be gone. for no fees whatsoever. We've let Aubameyang go for no fees. Like a couple of seasons ago, Aaron Ramsey went for nothing. Like, how many more players are we going to let go for nothing, right? And or pay off? Ozil paid off. You know, Kolasinac paid off. Right? The list goes on. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure there'll probably be Elneny will be the next one going for nothing, like, or whatever. And I think his contract's up at the end of the season, if I'm not correct.
Yeah.
This is a ridiculous situation. Now, I'll put a scenario out to you, and I said this earlier on. I don't care what anybody says, right? Last minute of the game, I don't know who's our last game of the season. It's Everton, maybe at home, like, you know. The ball goes over the top. What bearing on goal? Either Lacazette or Eddie. The goalkeeper's coming out. It's 60-40 in the goalkeeper's favour. But if he goes into that crunching tackle, could break his leg, could like do anything there, he might nick the goal. But he knows that if he goes in for that tackle, at the end of it and comes out, breaks his leg and all that, he ain't got a contract with Arsenal. He loses his 10 million with his new club. What does he do? Does he go in?
What do we do if it happens? What do we do if it happens, Lee?
Huh?
What do we do if it happens? We're short as well.
Well, you know what I mean? I'm saying if I've got a 10 million contract with Borussia Dortmund, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go. I'm not going to say you're wary of it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring Shaheen on this because Shaheen, I know this is a huge bugbear of yours in the sense of the money we've been throwing away, players we've had to pay off. I mean, you heard what these guys are saying. You know, everything they've said, I agree with. What's your take on it? And obviously, the money that we've been spending.
I was watching Curtis, as he knows, this morning, and he raised a couple of points that I've been raising as well. I'm going to come to those actually in a minute. First, to answer Lee, I don't think either of them will go in for that crunching tackle because there is nothing left. It's just one game. They'll be off, a new contract, new club. They're not really, I hope it's not like this, but they don't really care what happens to Arsenal after that point, if we qualify for Europe or not. It's all about Lacazette or Nketiah moving on and their career. And to a certain degree, rightly so. I can't figure out what is the thinking and the thought process for this January transfer window. It's as if we don't want to qualify for Champions League, and this is what I was saying that Curtis was saying earlier on his show. It's as if Arsenal don't want to go to the Champions League because I don't know, they're not good enough. They don't feel that they're good enough to compete in there because we've never had a better opportunity as far as I remember in the past few years. Teams around us are not doing well, right? We've got a better form. We can get things going. We don't have a lot of fixtures. It's a good opportunity to get Champions League football. So comes summer, you can attract those big names that you want to. That's one thing. The other thing that we've got to look at the implications of us not qualifying for the Champions League, and this is the point that Curtis raised earlier on his channel, and I've said this before as well, that summer, if Klopp comes in for Martinelli, right, offers him Champions League football, and Mane is off, he's old, he's not going to renew his contract, so Liverpool offer him Champions League football, chance to compete for the title. What would he do? Would Gabriel Martinelli sit down and think, no, I'm going to stick around and play for a up and down team with a novice manager who picks on fights with players? I could be the next player that gets frozen out if I do something that he doesn't like. Or do I want to go play for someone like Klopp and compete for the title and compete in the Champions League? So it's a bigger picture. And unfortunately, the only thing that I've gathered from this transfer window is that there is zero accountability for these boys. And they are so comfortable in their roles that they are happy to take such a massive risk. And they're actually playing with the future of Arsenal Football Club. If they don't qualify for Europe again, as Lee said, this is the second year in a row that we've pissed away FA Cup out of semi-final of a competition. And don't forget, last year, the manner that we went out in the European Cup semi-final. Not just going out, the manner that we went out, guy coming out of nowhere, pulling some new tactics that he's never done and he hasn't done after. So that one game, the most important game in his career and the club's future, he decides to do something like that. No accountability, zero. And comes end of the season, and I'm going to ask this to you guys, comes end of the season, we're not in the Champions League or even European football. I don't really see anybody pulling a trigger on Arteta. I don't know if you do, because I don't.
I'll let Curtis answer that if he wants to answer it first.
No, listen, I think the actions of the Kroenkes speak louder than words. If they're talking about new contract before the season's finished, that means they're happy with what he's doing, regardless of whether he finishes 4th, 6th, 7th. I think they wanted somebody that would come in, that they wouldn't have to pay huge wages. You look at Conte's on £400,000 a week. You know, they don't want to pay that kind of wage. They don't want a manager that's going to knock on their door and say, sort this out. They want somebody that's going to take instructions from them and get on with it. And Arteta ticks those boxes. And like we were saying, I don't think that the Kroenkes are desperate for Champions League. I think they'll take it if it comes, but I don't think they're saying, listen, when Arteta was in America, we've got to get a striker. We've got to get a midfielder. Top 4 is possible. It's just a bonus to them in my eyes because they're making money, and Arsenal is a business to them. They don't see it the same way we see it. You look at... Yeah, go on.
No, go on.
No, you see his team in America, the Rams, they're in the Super Bowl final. He's got the most expensive stadium in the world, and we're over here begging a striker, and we can't even get a striker. And there might not have been options all over the place, but there was 2 positions we needed addressing, the midfielder and the striker, and we didn't get one of them. You know, that's the crazy thing. I think Bruno Guimaraes, who went to Newcastle, was a no-brainer.
That one didn't make any sense to me, Curtis. For me, he was the one that fitted that midfield perfectly for us.
Yeah, he's an upgrade on Xhaka. He's 24, Brazilian international. He wants to play in the Prem. He ticks every box. He's an upgrade on Xhaka straight away. And we still turned our nose up at that. So I just don't understand the direction that the club are trying to go in. It seems like we're happy just ticking over, and you know, I don't know.
I agree with what Curtis is saying, and I forgot to say this when I was talking about my thoughts. The position that they left himself, and I'm sure Lee can say this better than me because you go to every game. Now we're in a position that 1 or 2 losses, bad losses, Emirates will be a completely different place because everyone's going to be on them. They're going to be like,
100%.
It's all your fault. Why didn't you address the problems? Look what we have to go through. I mean, we've got Wolves first game. Is it Wolves away or at home? I think it's away, right?
Away, yeah.
So Wolves away. I'm now looking at this with zero confidence. Wolves are they've got a better form. They're not far off us. And now we're going, if we go to Wolves, lose, right, and don't play well, they're going to bring unnecessary heat on themselves. And sorry, Lev. I just want to ask Lee and Curtis. I don't know if you guys have heard anything from the corners that you know more people than me and Lev. And I know Lev doesn't particularly like this subject, but I'm still baffled as to why Arteta was in America. The only thing that, in my mind, if he was there to tie up his own contract.
Yeah, Shaheen was saying he was there to tie up his contract. I was hoping he was out there trying to negotiate a bit more money to buy 2 permanent sort of signings rather than 1 loan in midfield and 1 up top. Neither of us is right at the moment, but now I'm starting to worry that Shaheen was right.
I think that maybe I would like to think that they try to get they done everything they could to get Vlahovic this time around because I think it was pushed forward a little bit. Like I'll be honest, they're looking in the summer. I will be astounded if Arsenal don't go and get a top class midfield player in the summer window. And I'm talking like Basuma or Tillemans or someone like that. I'm pretty sure is lined up, because otherwise, why wouldn't they have gone for that Bruno Guimaraes? I will never know. They cannot turn around no more and say it's very, very difficult to buy in a January window when players like that go into Newcastle and things like that. So you cannot argue with that. fact no more. So the players have got to be there and at some sort of stage. So I think that maybe they probably can't get those players now. But what I think. Listen, if Arsenal get Champions League, they're playing with they've got a squad at this moment in time that's competing on just one front to try and get into the top four. That's what it's done because that's how it is now. Like, if they were to get into the Champions, you're looking at 8 players who've got to sign. Whole Kroenke will be having where's my old art monitor? I need something on here, because that's what it's going to take, So maybe they're thinking, don't rush it too much, what I mean? The thing. Now, I don't think the likes of Martinelli and those sort of guys are in danger of going at this moment in time because they're fully behind the Arsenal project themselves.
They're getting game time as well, Lee, aren't they?
They're getting game time in a minute. They're playing at this moment in time and enjoying their football, and they're probably believing in it. But there's going to be a stage when there's going to be like all you do when you're a footballer. You when you're a youngster, it's all about getting games. It's all about getting in the team and all that. You're not actually worried about winning things at that stage. And then after you've sort of established yourself, you start thinking, right, I want to win games of football now, and blah, blah, blah. So there's a process of that. Now, I think it's going to come to the stage, and the big problem, I can tell you what the big problem would be if they let one of them go. Say, for instance, it is like Martinelli letting it go. Then I'm Saka. I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. Yeah. Then I'm going to panic. So, but they will be looking at it as players and going, right, and I don't care if I'm 21 or 20, I would be asking that question. And when I was in Dubai and go, well, what is going on now? What is going on this? Where are we going to go from it? So, and they might be sure, don't worry about it. We're getting this player and that player or whatever. I think in the summer, we're sort of like, we will do. You cannot go this transfer window and then in the summer one, not get no one as well. It'd be suicide for everybody at the club. Now, I agree with what Shanine was saying earlier on. I think that fans like myself, and there's a lot more that are more, I know that are more, believing in the process, believing Arteta, are now going, I can't believe that's happened. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little bit. So where they've been backing, now all of a sudden they're worried. A few defeats. And they will turn. Listen, for me now, I'm saying, look, you've got to the end of the season before we'll see what happens, because this goes either 2 ways now. Either we go in there and we go into top 4, and everybody turns around and says, "Wow, that's unbelievable what they've done there to do that with a tight budget and everything like that." Sure, that means Arteta would have had to have managed the players well, tactically coached them and whatever. That's another big thing I'm going to want to see through now. I want to see improvements from some certain players. Yeah. Or it goes tits up, and I mean tits up, and then if we lose to Wolves, by the way, we then drop another place. We'll be in 7th or 8th out of all the cups and all that. We're in trouble, and we cannot have another performance like the Burnley game. That's it now. You know what I mean? Most teams have one of them a season. We can't have no more.
No. Yeah. Let me just crack on with a couple of super chats before we move on, guys. Cliff, thank you for your support. You lot are wasting your breath, he says. Kroenke showed his priority on Sunday at his stadium. If this was the Rams, they would all be sacked. We're brown bread. And Wayne, sorry I missed yours a bit earlier. Danny Zuko decided to go Grease Lightning, and I missed your super chat. But Wayne Sage, thank you for your support. Question he's asking, and I'll ask this to you guys. If Arteta and Edu went out, spent 90 million euros on a player like Isak, who has only scored 4 goals this season, release clause, and we still miss out on top 4, what then would be the narrative? I get what he's saying now. I'm going to put this over to you, Curtis, because I was going to ask you this question, because my issue here is that we're saying, oh, we want to go for these quality strikers, quality midfielders, and we've been stung a little bit, and we've been stuck with all this dead wood from all the panic buys. That's what's happened to us, right? So we're just getting rid of them now. That's the one positive that's come from all of this. But just what level of player will we be able to go for in the summer window that aren't going to have a million other suitors at the moment, more capable of landing these top sort of strikers that we're talking about. And if that's the case, if we've always known we got to go down that peg, sort of peg or two to get the up and comers, should we have not addressed it now while we had the chance?
I mean, yeah, first of all, just with Isaac, what the guy said there, for me, Isaac is, I don't think he's worth 75 million.
No.
What I've seen of him, to be honest. And listen, I know times have changed. We signed Aubameyang 4 years ago. He'd scored 37 goals the year before we bought him. You spend 70 million now, you're getting a prospect. You know, even Vlahovic hasn't even played in the Champions League and they're paying 70 million. So Isaac, for me, what I've seen of him for Sweden and a few games for Sociedad, I think he's a talent. He's got potential, but he's far from the finished article. And I actually don't blame the club for not spending 70 odd million on him, because you can't just buy players to appease the fans. I think my problem is we've known since the end of November that Aubameyang was a situation that was spiraling out of control. So they should have been planning for 2 months that, listen, we weren't planning on buying a striker in January. That's the impression I get. This, like Lee said, this was a summer transfer.
Yeah.
But you've got to move that 6 months, because sometimes they say, oh, you know, you've got more players available in the summer, but you've also got more buyers, because all your Madrids, your Barças, they're all going to be looking for players. So sometimes you've got to be that little bit more aggressive in January and say, you know what, there aren't many buyers. Let's put the money down and get him. I just think there was a lack of planning, and you have to wonder who's making the decisions in terms of these moves. And like Lee said, he makes a great point, you know, with Martinelli and Saka. When you're a young player, you just want to play. You're trying to establish yourself. You want to get in your national team. But you look at Saka now, he was a bit of a star in the Euros. He'll probably go to the World Cup. I think that's when your mindset starts changing, because when you're away with that national team, Saka's going to be thinking, Foden's just won the Premier League and Mason Mount's the Champions League winner, and I'm sitting here in 7th place. I haven't won nothing, and I'm trying, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, your mindset changes. You start looking at your own team. And we saw this with Fabregas and all these young players. And I think to rely on a youngster so heavily is very dangerous. You know, I think our young players are our best players at the moment. And I think that's a problem, because they haven't got the know-how. They don't know how to go to Anfield and get a victory and beat Man City, because they haven't been in that situation. But the experienced players in our team, like Partey, are not performing. Xhaka's not at the level. Aubameyang wasn't performing. Lacazette is not really performing. So it's the lack of experience that is performing that is the problem. And a lot of people talking about Pepe there, but you can see that Arteta and Pepe don't have a great relationship. There doesn't seem to be any love there between those two. So to bring him in all of a sudden and go, oh, actually, I need you to do the business for me till the end of the season. You know, what frame of mind is he in? I always think the best managers, they make everybody feel like they're involved. Even if you're on the bench, you know, go on, just work a bit harder, you'll get in the team. They keep you chomping at the bit. Where I feel like with Arteta, it's like, this is my team, you're over there, you know. Yeah, go on.
Do you think that's a problem with Mikel Arteta, to a degree, that every time something happens with somebody, it seems the way forward is you're frozen out and you're forced to leave? I mean, Guendouzi, Ozil, Aubameyang, you know, Torreira was not really settling well, and boom, you're out. William Saliba. And does that play a part in the player's mind, do you think, that when they've seen, if I was an Arsenal player, right, even a youngster, and I'm seeing all of that happening, and I'm thinking maybe a manager, right, should sometimes, rather than freeze somebody out and then get rid of them, try to put an arm around them, maybe try to get through to them. I'm not sure whether that has happened and he hasn't had the outcome that was desired. Then I'm thinking, well, you can't put an arm around all of them players and none of them respond to you. Then you need to look at yourselves. That's one thing I wanted to ask you too. When you talk about the strikers, do you think this Aubameyang situation just came out of nowhere for them, in a sense that they were not planning for this, for him to leave in a way that he did? And they thought maybe we'll freeze him out a little bit and then we'll bring him back in. We can go to end of the season and then we'll look at it then.
Can I add something to that as well, Shaheen? Because you just finish
off.
point. Yeah.
Because as we all four of us, we agreed right? That Lacazette and Nketiah are not nowhere near good enough. Yeah, Lacazette will give you work rate, it will give you heart and desire, but he's there to score goals, and that hasn't been happening this season and last season. Sorry, Lev, go on.
No, I just wanted to throw into the mix as well when Curtis does answer it. Is that what Shaheen's mentioned and what we mentioned a little bit earlier with regards to trying to get the best out of what you have in the sense of not doing it with our Aubameyang as well? Is that just another indicator that the lack of experience that he has is not enabling him? He doesn't have the capacity at the moment to be able to sort of deal with other personalities and other issues.
Exactly. And you know what Lee said earlier as well, Curtis, and I'm sure you agree. You don't turn up late twice and then boom, you're frozen out. You just banished, done. And that's the club captain. You strip him off the club captaincy. You freeze him out as if he's done the unthinkable. You know what I mean?
No, just to answer your questions quick, I think the lack of experience shows at the way he deals with players because, you know, Ferguson and Wenger, just for example, you know, Rooney was a bit of a, you know, he was getting in trouble when he was younger, and Beckham and Anelka.
What about what Cantona did, Curtis?
Yeah, he's fly kicking people, but you know, when you've got a top player, you say, come on, let's sort this out. Let's move forward with it. I think with Arteta, every time he's got a problem, it's like, just get away from me. You know, I'm an inexperienced manager. I'm trying to prove to everyone that I'm this alpha male. So rather than sitting down and softening my approach, he gets rid of everyone. I think with the Aubameyang situation, just quickly to go to that before Lee comes, I think Aubameyang has probably turned up late more times than we would imagine. I get the impression, and Lee will know, he's been in dressing rooms. When you're a top player, you get away with things. They'll cover that up because Aubameyang's winning golden boot. So if he turned up 4 times late when he won that golden boot, they ain't going to say anything because his goals are winning as trophies. You start turning up late when you're out of form, we'll leak it to the press. He's on 300 grand is a problem. Actually, let's use this to get rid of him, because if you get rid of Aubameyang after you won that FA Cup, the fans would have gone crazy. You can't get rid of our star player. Now, Aubameyang's left and he looks like the enemy because of what he's done. Arteta's said, look, it's not me, you know, look at the way he's behaved, get rid of him. So I think Aubameyang fell into a trap that is his fault. Naturally, if you're turning up late, you've got to do better than that. But I think they saw an opportunity that, you know what, his form's declining. He's on 300 grand. He's 33 in the summer. We can get rid of him now and the blame will be on him. So that's my reason. I think they've probably had a big argument as well. You know, you see when they've left, Aubameyang hasn't mentioned the manager. Manager hasn't said anything. Clearly, it's more than just turning up late. But like I said, I think if he was in form this season, I don't think this would have happened.
The problem will be if he goes to Barcelona and starts banging in goals.
I think he will.
He will. If they know how to use him. Lee, bringing you in on this as well, what Curtis just said, it's a twofold question. So firstly, with the Aubameyang situation, do you think it was a bit of a scapegoat? And, you know, has what we've been hearing from the likes of Adebayor, don't want to mention his name, but we have, Adebayor, he said, you know, players know about this. Arsenal do this to players quite often. I mean, you looked at what happened. Well, wait, I'm not saying it. Wait. You had the situation with Ozil. You had a situation with Adebayor, obviously. We now had a situation with Aubameyang. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying, was Aubameyang a scapegoat based on what we've been told? Did he fall into a trap? And secondly, where do we go from here? How are we going to line up with these games coming up?
Listen, I don't agree with one bit what that was saying. Like, you know, because if that's the case, Xhaka's still here. You know, he's done lots of things wrong and everything like that. The fact of the matter is that, and whether you like it or whether you don't, football's a ruthless game, and that's what it is. He ain't doing the business no more. Wasn't doing the business no more. Curtis is right, you know. So if he's turning up late, you know, Tony Adams said the other day, you know, and it's a true story. You know, Ian Wright used to turn up late. Just turn up late, and I'll tell you the story if no one knows it. Like, you know, what I mean, they went in and said, look, he keeps turning up late. So like, we got bid at 10 o'clock, and he was turning up at 10 and things like that. Like, you know, and so they went in to see Arsene Wenger, and then Arsene Wenger put on the notice board the next day, training starts at 10:30. You know what I mean? Like, and they all went, oh, hold on a minute, no, like sort it out. You know what I mean? And it was in the end the players went and sorted it out and said, look, Ian, you got to get here for 10 o'clock, like, you know, and he sorted it out. Well, the fact of the matter is, I look at it, right? Players play, and Curtis is right. I've played with players. I hated them. I hated centre forwards at scoring goals. I hated them because they take all the glory, get the more money than anybody else. Like, you know what I mean? Blah blah blah. If they're scoring goals, you can't say nothing to them. Like, you know, like, and some of them are lazy and whatever. Like, you know, if they don't start scoring goals, people will get onto them. It's as simple as that. Like, do you know what I mean? In a dressing room or not. And one of those things is there now. What happened with Aubameyang? I don't really know what's gone on, but it's broken down. There's no way. Curtis made the greatest point. That was the point of there was no return from whenever it was. He was, you know, even before this, you know what I mean? Like, he was being told he's got to go and train on his own. Now I know for a fact that he was coming in the afternoons when everybody had gone home and on all that and training. They was keeping away. It had gone too far, so he was never going to come back. So the club knew this. You know, I don't think that they ever thought that it would come down to it. But the fact of the matter also, which has made all this more of a thing, is that it doesn't fit into the system that Arteta wants to play. It doesn't suit him, and it causes a problem. Look, as soon as you come out of the team, we started playing well. Now, forget about all the situation with Aubameyang's transfer. Was anybody really that worried about it when we was winning games of football? You know what I mean? And Aubameyang wasn't here. He was told he can go over to the African nations 2 weeks earlier than what was planned. No one was really worried because we was winning games. Now, all of a sudden, there's a problem. But it wasn't a problem 5-6 weeks ago when we was winning games and we only had Lacazette and Eddie up front. The problem's been put in front of us now because of a transfer window. We thought it was going to be addressed. But no one was worried about it then. I unbelievably can't believe that, and I've seen it online today and I've seen it in other people, all of a sudden, everybody's starting to criticise Aubameyang, giving him like the bad names and all this. And that's why I think Aubameyang should come out and say something if it is or it isn't. Mm-hmm. People are going, you know, if it weren't for Aubameyang, he cost us Champions League. I've seen today. He cost us Champions League by missing a penalty. He cost us the Europa League by hitting the post from an open goal. Like, you know, all of these people are so quick to slag off a man that scored goals for us left, right and centre to protect the process and protect the manager and everything like that, like, you know. And I think that's wrong. You know, at the end of it now, whatever way you look at it, if Arsenal fell short of goals this season, that is because it's down to the manager choosing to fall out of his strike or whatever, for whatever reason, you know what I mean, and then not replacing. That is the problem that I'm going to have for that. So there's a lot of pressure now put on Arteta through that. Now, for me, Aubameyang was gone as soon as he was stripped to the captaincy. Now, I look at that and I see that really, and I thought, well, that's him gone. I actually thought that was the same for Xhaka, but somehow Xhaka got himself back into it. I'll tell you how Xhaka got himself back into it. Change of manager. There's the only reason. He would have gone down the same path as Aubameyang if it wasn't for a change of manager. He was fortunate that there was a change of manager. What's the first thing a manager says when he comes into a dressing room?
Yeah, clean slate.
Yeah.
So that was the only reason that Xhaka got a free ride. Otherwise, he was gone, guys. He was gone. Right? You know, and it's the same for Aubameyang. As soon as Aubameyang done what he'd done and he was stripped to the captaincy, that was it. Goodbye.
You know, you would think, you would think a decent board or a decent manager or a decent managing director or director of football, they would at least do an interview with Arsenal website and they tell fans something. So we don't have to sit down and scratch our head. Why is Aubameyang leaving? Why is this? Come out and tell us fans why. What's the thinking behind the January window? Why Aubameyang left? Why all of these things? But they don't. It's as if they don't even care about fans and what they think. Go on, Lev. Sorry.
No, all I wanted to ask as well, because I'd heard a few rumours, and I heard it on Curtis's show as well. Don't know if Lee, you've managed to speak to Troops or anything, but he was saying that he'd spoken to Aubameyang before, and he said, "Look, if he wants to fight the war, win the war on his own, then I'm done." Have you heard anything about that at all?
No, I haven't heard nothing about it. I'll be honest, like, you know what I mean. Like, I haven't, and that is a true
Fair
I
enough.
don't really know what has gone on with. This is one of the I would never really want to get close to one of the players because this is the reason why. Because you
get your heart broken.
well, it's a difficult thing, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Like at this moment in time, I'm more of an Arsenal fan, but the more I'm liking Arsenal at the moment is for the players. You know, I'll be absolutely gutted if Martinelli's sold, absolutely gutted if Saka's sold, absolutely gutted if Smith Rowe is sold. They're the ones for me that I'm really pinning all my hopes on. And to be honest, I've started to enjoy going to games of football just to watch those players. Like, you know what I mean? I don't like I look at the tactics of Arteta. If I was playing in that game, or what did he do to change that game against Burnley? He didn't do anything different. He didn't go to a back three. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. That worries me. Like, like if I'll be honest.
You know what, Lee? The next one that worries me, right, is William Saliba. I really want him to come back,
Listen,
but I have a feeling
if he does, if
he's probably the next one out.
I'm not a believer in that. I think that for me, Saliba, it's been best that he's been on loan for the last couple of seasons because he wouldn't be. He's too young to start demanding in the Premier League, but he's coming now ripe. As far as I'm concerned, he's had a couple of years on loan, so that's the right thing to do, and he comes in. And I think that, if Arteta then starts letting Saliba go and Guendouzi and players like that, then there's a problem. At the moment, let's get to the facts that has he let any player go that we're not really we're absolutely worried about? And I mean this, say, like, for instance, every Aubameyang, like, to me, and I mean this horribly, like, he's on the way out. You know what I mean? He's declining in the system that we play. He may go to bar. Like, I think, like, if Aubameyang went to Manchester City, he'd get 20 goals by the end of the season. I really do, because they play a different way. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't have to be chasing back to the left back, covering the left back, and then chasing all the way back up and all that. Like, so I get that. You know what I mean? Like, but ultimately, those sort of players are there. Like, Saliba at this moment, I'm giving him grace because he's on loan. But if he was to sell Saliba, I'll be furious.
Yeah.
Furious. You know what I mean? Because this is a manager that should be bringing them in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so listen, you can't really say anything about Saliba at this moment until it happens. It's the same with this bloody. Now we've got to wait and see what happens. Guendouzi's another one. I think he's got a year left of his contract after this. He may come back a little bit mature or not. I don't know. But you cannot continue to keep falling out with good players. If he was to fall out with Smith Rowe, I think he's got a problem with Smith Rowe, by the way. He's our top player and he can't get in a team. You can't get
Lee, it's arguable, guys, as well, that both Mavropanos and Saliba were better than some of the guys we kept, like Holding, for example. That's
my argument to that is Saliba's playing week in, week out at Marseille. Holding is not. So I'd rather him be playing week in, week out at Marseille than being playing here and there for Arsenal at the minute. Get him all those little mistakes out of him, learning. So when he comes to Arsenal, he's had 2 years of football instead of being a backup. He comes straight in and straight into the squad. So I think it's different in some certain areas. You know what I mean? Like, Smith Rowe hasn't just come into the side this year or last year, and that. There's only really Saka that's done that. Smith Rowe's been to Huddersfield. He's been to Leipzig. He's done a few loans and all that, like. But now he's coming. Saliba he gets a little bit more polish because we paid a fee for him. But you've got to realise he's still young. It doesn't happen very often.
No, I agree with you in that aspect, Lee. So, I mean, look, moving forward then, guys, we've got about 15 minutes to go, and everyone in the chats, thank you for your support. Smash the likes if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. I want to know what we're going to do moving forward, what we expect to see. We've got some really important games. The Wolves game, like you guys have mentioned, is going to be imperative that we get off to a good start, because if that goes wrong, the fans are going to be straight onto Arteta's back. So, what do you see us doing moving forward in regards to Curtis? I'll come to you on this first. So let's just say, for example, now Lacazette's not performing or Lacazette gets injured. Let's play devil's advocate. We've only got Eddie to fall back on. What other options have we got moving forward with this current squad?
No, I agree with what Lee said earlier. I think the manager's got to find a different alternative, and I agree. I would look at Martinelli through the middle, because also if you do that, you can then bring Smith Rowe back on the left. You've got Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, which I think would give a defence a problem. There's a lot of energy, a lot of speed there, goals there, and I would do that. Listen, we know Eddie Nketiah is nowhere near the level. I mean, I was looking at it today at the league. I don't think Eddie would start for any team in the Premier League. Not one of them.
He didn't even make it at Leeds, did he? To get ahead of Bamford, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Bamford. I mean, listen, I don't want to write him off as a young player. Sometimes young players they'll turn it around, but I just think at the moment Arsenal is not his level. And I always think you should look at a manager by how they manage the players they've got. We always want transfers. We always want the new flashy, shiny player, but how good are you with the players you have got? And we all heard when Arteta came, he was this amazing coach. He'd done this with Sterling and Leroy Sané and all
that.
Yeah, but the difference is, look at the level of player you're talking about. This £60 million player. They're some of the best players in Europe. So I was thinking, what can he do with Pepe? What can he do with Martinelli? You know, I want to see him now get a little bit creative. Can you reintegrate Pepe and get 10 goals out of him? Can you play Martinelli through the middle? Can we even play 2 up front? Can we do something different? I think, like Lee said, I was at that Burnley game and I'm just thinking, are you going to do something else? Because all we're doing is crossing the ball in to 2 centre-backs who win in every header. And Lacazette's 5'9" trying to win headers. That ain't going to win you the game. So for me now, look, we've all got to, whether we like that transfer window or not, we've all got to take it on the chin. We've got to try and support the team until the end of the season. 17 cup finals. At least we're in with a shout of top 4, which I didn't even think we'd be in this position at the start of the season, because I thought Man United would do better than they have done. So he has to find a way. I think we've played most of the top teams away from home. We played Man City twice, played Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, it's a favourable running.
It's not a bad run, but the problem is, like you've said, because we're so angry about the transfer window, if we go to Wolves next week, get beat, the first question's going to be, why did you sell Aubameyang? Why didn't you sign a striker? Where's your midfielder? And you've seen the Emirates can turn toxic very quick. And I have to admit, when I've been to the Emirates this year, the fans are actually right behind him. They've actually been really supportive of this manager. He's had a lot of patience. So it's just whether we can go on that run or not. You know, we need to win the next few games, you know, calm down the pressure and hope that Lady Luck treats us nice with the injuries, because we're a centre-back away from Holding coming in. We're a Tomiyasu away from Cedric. We're a Lacazette away from Nketiah. That is where I think they've taken a big chance.
That is 100% right.
Gambling FC.
Gambling, gamble.
You know, there's a guy on here who says, look, just for example, there are some people on there who said, this guy, he said a couple of things I've ignored, but this one, if Eddie scores, these people will be clowns. Right now, listen, we all want him to score, but the fact that you're talking about a so-called Premier League striker for Arsenal, if he scores, we're going to wait if he scores to prove us that we're clowns. I don't understand that. We should be expecting him to score, surely.
Well, it could have been so much different if he had scored. If he'd have scored the sitter at Everton, right, we would be in the top 4 now, yeah? If he scored the sitter at Nottingham Forest, we would be in the FA Cup on Sunday. So when people turn around and say that, I get that. You know, it's great that they want to support him. But the facts are, because of his misses and the faith that Arteta's put in him, we are not 4th and we are not in the FA Cup this weekend. So, you know, and football, I'm afraid, is it's a ruthless business. You're a striker, you've got to take those. Listen, if you're given a chance, an open goal with a yard out, that is your bread and butter as a striker. I'm sorry, that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't expect a goalkeeper to drop a cross or throw one in. Like, if you're a midfield player, 5-yard pass is what you're expected to do. It's not, you know, what's the word? You might misplace one in there, but if you're a professional footballer for a reason, You get those chances, you've got to take them. And
Yeah.
he's not. And if he had took them, people we'd be sitting here going, Eddie's give him a chance, give him a chance. The reason that no one hates Eddie. Let's get it wrong. I love Eddie. I've got no axe to grind with him whatsoever. It's just the fact is, right, he's not quite at the level he should be at Arsenal. What he should be saying is, do you know what? I'll prove you wrong. I want to sign for Arsenal. I want to go out on loan and come back and make it Arsenal. Not turn around and say, no, I don't want to sign. And that's the other thing that people are getting a little bit fed up with him is that he's not going to be here next season. So what are we putting the faith in him for? Yeah. He doesn't want to be here. Correct. That is the reason that people are going against Eddie. Nothing more, nothing less.
Can I just say something, though?
Go on, Shaheen.
We've got just under 800 people watching and about 150 likes. So please, guys, just hit the like button. It helps us. If you're liking the content, please hit the like.
Maybe they're not liking the content, Shaheen.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. Please subscribe to Arsenal Lounge. Obviously, if you're new, subscribe to Curtis Shaw TV. Curtis does daily content. And subscribe to Lee Judges TV as well. They do good content. We are yet to receive our formal invitation to either of the channels, but we'll continue patiently waiting.
Oh, this is awkward. This is awkward. I don't know where that come from, guys. Shocking. Can we have the domestics off the channel, please? Medical study buddy, don't know what that's all about, but he's supporting us, and thank you, bro. Lee, my man, answer me this. He started this like a riddle. Why are you always on everyone's channel but yours? That's a really deep, cutting question, that, mate. Thanks for that.
Listen, I think the last few weeks I have been majorly busy with functions and doing things and all that, and I haven't been able to. But
he hangs out with Xhaka's mum, doesn't he? He hangs out with Xhaka's mum.
I have been like
malicious rumour now. Sorry about that.
I'm still trying to get back into it, so there you go.
There you go. Any more questions? You've got about 5 minutes to go. Bring your questions in. We'll drop them into these guys because I know that you want to ask questions. So keep them coming. Let's see if there's anything here for anybody to ask. There we go. Nope, there isn't. So let's just carry on. Right. So, guys, Wolves game is coming up. What you expected to see? What we're going to win? And predictions, starting with Curtis.
Listen, I'm going to be positive. We're above them in the table. I think the only injury worries Tomiyasu. I don't think he's been seen in any of the pictures in Dubai, so I'm assuming he may not be over there. But they've had time off. They've been warm weather training. They know they're under pressure. Wolves is always a tough place to go. At least they've just sold Adama Traore, who's a bit of a live wire for them. But if we've got any hopes of getting in the top four, you got to go to Wolves and beat them, or you at least can't get beat when you play against them. So go there and be positive. Listen, if we lose, and you'll see I'll be saying something totally different, but we've got to go there and be positive, and we got to try and beat them. We got to let them worry about us. But it's a tough game. It is a tough game. Wolves at home, it's a good atmosphere there. It's an evening kickoff as well. They're gonna have to start the game quickly, but we've got Partey back, Pepe will be back, all the AFCON players will be back. We obviously had 3 or 4 players over there, so I'll take a 2-1. I'll be positive and say a 2-1 win for Arsenal. I think we might concede.
Jeez, Curtis, I wasn't expecting you to say.
I'm telling you, usually, but no, I've got to be positive, man. Wolves don't worry me that much, but it's more
the midfield.
Yeah, they've got Neves and players like that. They're good. Martinez up front. Is it Jimenez? Sorry, up front is decent. But I do think you can get at Wolves. I got to be honest. I think you can get at their back four. So I'm going for a 2-1 win. But obviously, if it goes wrong, don't quote me on it.
Right. So quote from Curtis. It's going to be 2-1, 100% definite. If it goes wrong, you know where his channel is. Jashar, very quick question. Lee Judges, I'll throw this out at you. Do you think COVID will wreck our squad as many are not vaccinated? If we've got any left?
Well, I don't know if they're vaccinated or not. No, I don't think. I think like the COVID situation's easing, so I don't think that it will do. I'll be honest. And if you get 4 cases, you can cause it off. So. Just put in a few false flow laterals like Liverpool did, and away you go.
Tottenham, no? Yeah. And what you expecting from Wolves and a prediction?
I think the game against Royal, I'm agree with. Listen, before this break that we've had, and listen, we've got one in the next 5 weekends, we've got one game. In the next 5 weekends, so we've got weekends off. We've got like loads of rest coming up and all that. Like, and for me, I look at it like Saka was running on empty. Martinelli may be running on empty. They're all like refueled and ready to go. Like the African nation guys are back. Partey and Xhaka will be at the midfield now. Their suspensions are cleared. I think at the end of the day, if they produce the sort of performances that they did against Man City, we'll be fine. I got no problems with our starting 11. Tomiyasu is a problem. I agree with Curtis there, because I felt Cedric ain't great, but Cedric was out as well, wasn't he, for a couple of games? Why he was out as well. He's still got another 8 days to get fit, Tomiyasu. He can't be that badly injured if they risked him for that Liverpool game, you know what I mean? So I don't know what it actually is, but hopefully, the rest, whether he's been getting lots of treatment back at home, I don't know. He might have been there having treatment. I don't know, you know what I mean? So I think that if he was in Dubai, I think they might as well took him over there to get the treatment over there. Anyway, so he might have just not been training, but he'll be nicely resting up. We will be a lot fresher going into these next few games. So I feel that we listen. I think if we lose to Wolves, it's a disaster. I know that you might think I'm being over the top. It will put lots of pressure on, but a win against Wolves just ease everybody's a little bit quickly at the moment because of what's gone on. But if we were to go there and win, that will ease. So I think it's a massive game, and I think Arsenal will just nick it.
Great. So two wins here, doing pretty well. Before I go over to you, Sheen, I'm going to do what you do to me every show. I'm going to pretend I'm coming to you and then go and ask someone else a question. And Mr. Waffle asked Curtis, where are our goals coming from, Curtis?
I think it's them lads behind the striker, if I'm honest. I think Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka. I'm just looking at it there. We play Brentford and Watford after this Wolves game. So if we can beat Wolves with Brentford and Watford to come, that's where you can string a little run together. But Lacazette's got to find something. I'm not saying I expect 20 goals out of him, but he's got to start doing something. I saw a fact that he's had 17 shots in 17 games. So he's having 1 shot a game. That's nowhere near enough for a striker.
He's dropping too deep, isn't he?
He plays far too deep. So I reckon the young lads, that's all we got really for the goals at the moment.
So basically, Mr. Waffle, the people that have been holding us up, i.e. the young lads, that's where the goals are coming from. Thank you for that, Curtis. Shaheen, before you answer the question with regards to Wolves and your prediction, did you want to...
I was just reading a super chat. There was a super chat from Ali. Great lads shows we must slap Wolves. Arteta, no more excuses. There was another couple of super chats, I think, from Ray and
is there? Let's go.
Yeah, some we forgot. I put them on the screen, but we didn't read them. And I promised this guy that will ask his question. So I'll put this to Lee Judges. Do you think the constant drama Arteta is having with every player is pushing other players away from joining our club?
It's a good question. It's a good question, but I look at the players that there. I look at the Lacazette and he's friends with Aubameyang and everything like that. I've seen pictures of him in Dubai, all very, very happy and all that. Listen, when we've played those last few games, when the Aubameyang situations happened and that, I've seen all the players still very, very much together, and I think that maybe not the case. I will say something also, and I'm a big believer of this because I always look at the bench when we score goals, and it's quiet. There's no one sitting on there not moving. They're all quiet. They all jump up. They're all quite into it and all that. So I don't think it's a worry at this moment in time. I think, if I'll be honest, there's been a holiday sort of environment at Arsenal for too long. And I think now that he's come along and changed that a little bit. Now, if you're winning games and start winning trophies, they go along with it.
See, this is what frustrates me. I think we've had a great opportunity with our running and what the other teams are doing. We should have added that. I think that would have given us a great chance for top four. But you know, it is what it is. Shaheen, can you ask this question before you answer? This is the best question of the day so far. But can you answer this question and then answer the question re Wolves and the result? What's the question?
I don't know, Shane. Why do you always ruin my watch time with show with the negative energy? I don't think I've got negative energy, and whatever energy I've got, I get it from the club. So if they, you know, I've come here all fun and positive and all, you know.
I think you've been very positive today in comparison to normal.
No, well, yeah, but it's the club, innit? I get my energy from the club. If they're doing well, if they're not pissing us all off, then we're all good. But if they're moving the way they're moving now, what am I going to come be positive about what? Exactly.
No, I agree.
Anyway, but yeah, for the Wolves game, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'd like to think like Curtis, 2-1, but I just don't see us scoring 2 goals there with the potent strike force that we have. But yeah, I'll go for a 1-1 draw. And hopefully, if we get a draw there and then win the next 2 games against Watford and Brentford, then I'll be happy with that.
I'm going to have to answer this as well. And I can't believe I'm going to do this because I'm always the positive one, aren't I? But it would just be typical Arsenal to come out and lose this game. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm trying to sort of get away from the heart and think with my head what I've seen in the past season upon season. And the Arsenal that I'm used to seeing will now not only do this in the transfer window, but then go and compound it by losing their first game back against Wolves. Yeah. So I'm seeing a 1-0 loss and everyone going irate. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But it's just how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling really negative after the window. I just am. I just thought it was there for the taking. And for once, I just believed that Arsenal were looking like they were going to grab things by the horn and just say, you know what, we want this, we're going to take it. And if what people are saying is true, they weren't looking for top 4, top 6, then that's not the club that I'm used to seeing growing up as a kid. You know, I want to see a team that wants to win every single game. So I hope I'm wrong, but I'm
not long ago, Lev, we went to Real Madrid, a good Real Madrid, and we won 1-0. Yeah. We went to a peak AC Milan and NT Milan in their prime, and we
now
beat
it's
them.
Just peak. That's all it is now.
Yeah, and we beat them, but now nothing.
That's
Wolves away, and we're all worried.
When you're a dad, you try to hit the slang now, isn't it? That's what I know. It's peak right now. But look, at the end of the day, guys, look, it is what it is. Let's hope we come back from the break with a win, and let's hope we can get that top 4 regardless of a disappointing transfer window. If you're not already subscribed to Curtis Shaw TV, make sure you do subscribe. Great content, and he always says it how it is, says it speaks from the heart. He doesn't just do it for the camera. Lee doesn't even look at the camera. Make sure you subscribe. Lee Judges. He will make sure that if he's not there, someone else will be there. That's what the guests are saying on our chat today. And he's got a match on. But is there anything you want to finish off with, Lee, before I let you go?
No, just I thoroughly enjoyed that. Good chat. Listen, it's a great debate at the moment, and at the moment, no one's right, no one's wrong. I have to say that, like, you know. So
time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah. Exactly. It is. You know, we're Arsenal fans, and we've got to be fans now, and just back it and see what happens. And I know it's going to be hard, but that's all we can do, and that's how I feel about it now. Like, you know, I know exactly what Lev's saying. Like, it's a massive blow to transfer window. It could have been. You know, if we got in those couple of players, we'd be going mad. But just because we've got those players in, we might not win at Wolves, or we might not win there. You'd never know. So look, it's just got to back the team, and hopefully, we can get where we want to be.
Curtis, anything you want to add to that before we let you go, mate?
No, I appreciate you having me on. Great show. Big up to all of you. And, you know, you need this sometimes just to get it off your chest, because you think, man, I can't believe what's happened. But then you come on the show, you feel a bit better. So I'm hopeful, man. And just one last thing. Can Lee get the radiator on? Because I'm just looking at you. I feel cold just looking at you, Lee.
He's saving money till the channel picks up. Give him a break.
Okay, when he gets to 30,000, the radiator comes on.
Yeah. Mate, when he gets to 30,000, he'll have the hive. He'll have a little control in front of us and everything.
I'm going out now, so I'm going to put the heating on. So when I come back, I'll be nice and warm watching the old firm game like that.
What he hasn't told you is he doesn't even have a snooker table. That's what another thing he hasn't told you. It's just for show. It's just for show. Shaheen, anything you want to add before we go?
Man, I'm just thank you to Curtis and Lee. We haven't had them for a while. Hope to see you guys here again. And thanks for your time, for being here.
And also, Shaheen is auctioning the picture that's on his wall of the whirling dervish. If you,
No, I'm not.
Yeah, well, questions will be going out soon. So keep an eye on the comments. And that's about it, guys. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Great numbers, great support. As I said, if you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe. If you haven't hit the like, then tap the like even. Thank you for doing that. And that's been us talking about it. It's the Therapy Lounge today. We're over it, hopefully, now. Let's move on. Let's hope we get top 4. And we're out of here.